If you do, then you also know that Congress makes no laws to rule the people. The Constitution was written for the express purpose of limiting a central government, which was created to take care of business the individual nation-states had to, by necessity, do in union. It was written to protect the people, to protect the unalienable rights of the people from that very central government ever getting out of control. You've heard in the con man's own words from his own lips just exactly what he has set up. A dictatorship more tyrannical, more all-encompassing, and more despotic than the corporation posing as our government right now in Washington, D.C. And by the way, since when does the national government under our true republic have the power to appoint any state official, let alone a governor? Mm-hmm. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the level of honor, honesty, and fair play any intelligent and responsible adult can expect from Mr. Mr. John Turner and his national thugs. Now, it's clear by Texas's own words that they did the lawful thing, exactly what the people of Texas expected them to do. Today, I received a ton of documented evidence which will expose once and for all the level of deceit and just how badly innocent people wishing nothing more than the restoration of this great nation have been subjected to. That evidence contains many audio files of original meetings where this entrapment was constructed, and letters and written documents. It'll take me about 2 weeks to compile and put it into context to bring forth on this program. It will be announced when I have that done and on what show it will be shared. But I will tell you now, there's enough to fill 3 hours and then some. So I would open it to the floor for questions and comments and anything that my colleagues on this show would like to put in.
Well, I think, Terry, we should bring Will forward a little bit to kind of tell a little bit about what happened with them and what they learned and experienced within RUSA, and maybe they could possibly go into a little bit about what they have been doing since they resigned and renounced RUSA.
Yeah, I agree, because as you heard Jim pipe up there a minute ago, when he said he would attest to that, Jim knows firsthand, and so does Will.
Yes, so I'd like to go ahead and let Will have a chance to share his stuff, and then Jim will kind of lead in maybe the last half hour with you.
Okay. And I'm hoping people will call in.
Will, thank you for being here.
Hey, evening all.
Hi.
How are you?
Thanks, Will.
Well, still hanging in there. Actually doing much better since we left RUSA, about 8 months ago, 6 months ago. Where do you want me to start? Because we have an interesting situation up here in Pennsylvania, because Mr. Nathan Peachy, who is one of Turner's henchmen, lives up here, and I guess we could start with that. Is that a good place to start?
That might be a good place to start.
Well, up here, I joined, let's see, it's been well over a year ago. Anyhow, I got voted in as grand jury foreman a year ago because our grand jury foreman went to a different position and, blah, blah, blah. So anyhow, because my partner and I get to travel around the country, I thought it would be a good thing if, we were in contact with all the other people in this movement. So we started to talk to a lot of people, and by our surprise, we ended up discovering a lot of the stuff that Terry on here and Deatra have been sharing about the deception and the absolute disgust that came about. So we started to question, and we started to question Peachy, and actually we got Turner on a couple of direct calls, and he basically tripped over his tongue and acted, his used salesman techniques got exposed because we started asking questions, and then they started demonizing us for asking questions. How dare you question authority? As so well as a lot of the other states like Texas you hear about this evening. And so we went on a little fact-finding journey after that. That was probably in June. And we traveled for a good 6 weeks, got to talk to several hundred people to gather just a little of information, and it just so happens that, our business allowed us to travel, so it was a worthwhile trip nonetheless. So Pennsylvania, because of the way they were demonizing us up here for asking questions, we formed a grand jury out of our General Assembly. I sat as grand jury foreman and listened to over 5 hours of testimony from people individually. Tell us as a group about the deception, about the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that were stolen by all these promises. Just the information, it's all laid out on Terry's blog. I believe it was in the chat room there. But at any rate, so we determined that Mr. Peachy broke his oath, or his covenant here in Pennsylvania, declared him, incompetent basically, and broken his covenant. So he no longer has a standing in Pennsylvania, which would then allow. Which would then disqualify him from anything in the national level if this was truly a de jure type of a government, which it's not. It's a what was the word?
Dictatorship.
Well, it's a dictatorship, but it's a de facto republic, is what it is. It's not a de jure republic. It's a de facto top-down republic where the national organization is the henchman for the states. So it's totally backwards. But at any rate, we made that action. That was back, August or so, and we left. We voted as a complete assembly to leave. And we did so. There were a few stragglers that stayed with Peachy, and actually, they're still operating right in Pennsylvania as a assembly under the direction of Peachy and now Galen Yoder and a lot of these people that have left the Mennonite or Amish movement, who are very minded, to follow some kind of a leader. And they are continuing. We've served them notice last month because they are imitating and being unlawful. So now our next step here very shortly is they're going to be taken to task in the federal de facto down here in Philadelphia. So that's our next step. So that's what's been going on in Pennsylvania. So is that short and sweet enough for you, girls?
Very good, Will.
Yes, that was awesome. Well, Lawrence, if you would like, okay, I see you. You just sent me a Skype. I was gonna maybe let you go into some of your issues with Bruce and why you chose to leave.
Hey, Dasher, can you hear me?
Yes.
I couldn't remember if I had this one punched off or wrong.
No, you're there.
Okay, real good. I was very, just like I probably every one of you that was involved with Bruce, I was very active and worked very hard, very diligently to help bring this about, and was frustrated on every hand and corner with a lack of transparency, the lack of a voice to be heard at any level from the state, from our republic here. We supposedly had a couple of, and this is not, I'm not saying this to badmouth the individuals that function in this capacity, but we weren't even aware that the Congress had a website until 6 or 8 weeks after some of the first legislation was enacted and published on their website, on the Congress website, and we had two senators right there involved, and the whole thing is just a total farce. It's just a total farce, and it became very obvious to me that that Mr. Wright was bullying his way as to about what was legislated, what was done, what was said, and what was not from the beginning. And it was just anyway. So I just decided that myself that it was beyond hope, that it was what I had refused to look at early on, even though it came to me, and I should have listened. I know this very well, when things come to me, to listen, because they always prove themselves to be true. I wanted it so bad that I refused to accept it for a long, long time. And the truth being that it was, like Terry says, it was a planned, staged, de facto process to bring out the people that could be a possible threat to the plans of the New World Order elite when they began the process of bringing down their final plans for this country. And they didn't want people like us to be loose cannons out here unaccounted for. And this is the way to account for such people. And they've done it very well, in my opinion. So, anyway, I just hope and pray that people will wake up. It's not too late. There are many things happening to people all over this country. Awareness is is happening. People are waking up, as Jim touched on earlier, and we have some wonderful things coming down on several different fronts. So I'm just thankful to be a part and party to the good things, the solid things that will make a difference and change this country and change this world ultimately. That may not materialize in my lifetime, who knows. But I absolutely know with every fiber of my being that this whole Babylonian system is going down. And there is a beautiful, beautiful world coming, and we've got work to do. But we're not alone, believe me.
I'd like to chime in there. Thank you, Lawrence, for that very much. After Pennsylvania did what Pennsylvania did, and Pennsylvania was by no means even one of the first states to leave in its entirety, but they were very lucky to have among their midst a very intelligent historian and truth expert when it comes to historical documents, interpretation, etc. And Pennsylvania inadvertently stumbled over exactly what our founding documents tell us to do as a people should we ever find ourselves, and they knew we would eventually, find ourselves faced with an out-of-control, despotic and tyrannical central government, and what we are instructed to do about it as a people if we are to keep our republic. Pennsylvania took some steps to instigate an action that they did. Inadvertently, it turns out that was exactly the action that is required to put this country back in the hands of the people. And we needed a majority of states to duplicate what Pennsylvania had done. We almost have that majority now. And very soon it will be possible to put this country back in the hands of the people.